Hey guys, Megan here. Welcome to our channel, Megan and the Trumbo Tribe Adventures. Our family just started and went through a brand new adventure. So exciting. Our baby girl was born just a week ago. She's a week and a day old today. The Trumbo Tribe actually consists of me, my husband, and our 6 boys, and now our baby girl who was just born. Our boys are 17, 15, 13, 10, then 3, 1, and now our sweet baby girl. This past week, we've just been, as a family, just loving on this little girl. We're all so in love. We've been in recovery zone. I had a C-section with her, so definitely we're recovering. I'm recovering. Baby girl is doing really good. I seem to be getting up, moving around, and on my way to good recovery. But man, C-sections are rough, and it does take a little bit longer to get going after birth and all that. But baby girl's doing really good, and you are going to get to meet her very, very soon, just in the next video, because I'm going to put out the birth story and birth vlog video. That's coming up next. So there is when you're going to meet her. In this video though, I just wanted to quickly, before we put out the birth vlog, I wanted to quickly just put out something that we went through in the last stages of the pregnancy, just to see if we could be a help to anyone else that might have went through something like this. I talked about this in the very beginning of the pregnancy journey videos that I've been putting out on our playlist on our channel. I talked about a complication that we've had at the end stages of the pregnancy, and this is the time that I had to talk about it. I wanted to try to get it out before she was born. I just feel like backed up with the videos, but that's okay because family first, like I say, and then we'll get these videos out. And if it's going to help somebody, that's what I want to put this video out for, just to share our journey with this certain complication and be there or be a help to anyone else that might be going through the same thing. This is actually something that had us pretty uptight, really scared when we found out about this in the beginning. But one of the biggest reasons why I want to talk about it is the more we learned about it, because the doctors, with the thing that we were going through, the doctors, it still is a thing that they scratch their head at, but the more we learned about it, the more at ease we became. And I just want to kind of just help the other people to just from the start, everything's going to be okay. And when you get told something like this, just it'll be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Okay, so really quickly, I'll just go over what happened. Dave and I were just going in for a routine ultrasound check at the Fraternal Fetal Medicine, and that is a place you would go if you had a high-risk pregnancy. In my case, it was because of me being over 35, and they will send, your OB will send you over there and suggest that you just get checked out with the high-risk people at your 20 week when they do the anatomy scan and all that of the baby, and then a couple more times after that before the baby's born, just because I'm older and they want to make sure everything's working properly still with the pregnancy and all that, like my placenta's healthy, my uterus was healthy and everything like that. So it was just a routine check. I was 32 weeks, and I had been, I know exactly like these ultrasounds, what to expect, what they're gonna look at in the baby, me and everything, and I just have it all down. Like, I actually feel like by this point, like I can become an ultrasound tech because I like just studied it and know everything that they're looking at. Like right when she puts the probe on, I like know what it is. Sometimes it's hard for people to tell, like, what are we looking at in this baby? And like, I know right away. So everything's going good. We're getting through the ultrasound, and then things just start getting a little scary for me. The ultrasound tech just started going back over the baby's heart like tons of times. And she kept trying to bring up the rhythm on the screen and like try to bring it up. And she kept scanning over it. She kept looking deep into the heart. I kept seeing the valves. She would like zoom in. And normally this would just be like a couple pictures of it and then we're moving on. Not this time. She kept going back over it and over it. And Dave's just sitting there not suspecting anything. He's totally fine. The room, it was just dead silent, actually. Usually like we're talking, like I had a lot of the techs in the office usually talk to me, and this was one that I hadn't had before, and she just wasn't a talker at all. She just literally was like doing her thing, and she didn't talk much. She was like actually really quiet. And that's not good for me. I like them to talk to me, especially if I'm starting to get concerned. Like, just tell me, like, just be upfront. Like, hey, we're looking at this. Something doesn't look right, but I get it. They have to like wait for the doctor. So after her like going over it and it felt like a lifetime, my legs started shaking. I like knew something wasn't right because of how much she was looking at the baby's heart. And so finally she says, okay, I'm gonna go get the doctor. And I'm like, please do. I need to know what's wrong. When she left the room, I looked at Dave and I was like, Dave, something's not right. Something's not right. They're gonna tell us something. And I'm thinking the worst. Like, I'm thinking just the worst. So the doctor comes in, and thankfully right away he just starts telling us, he's like, okay, so we're seeing that your baby's heart is not beating regular at all. And his concern is that he sees this, but it being like spotty, like he'll see an irregular beat here and there, or maybe like one irregular beat, or one every like couple minutes or something like that. But he was telling us that our baby literally, like the whole time it's beating, it is irregular and very irregular. And at that time, I guess they were seeing like she had an extra beat and then a pause. And they couldn't even pull up her heart rate. They couldn't hear it actually because it was so irregular. So they didn't know exactly like where she was at. They were trying to, so the doctor tried to pull up her heartbeat through the cord, like how the waves are coming in through the cord. I'm not exactly sure how they were trying to do that through the cord sound waves, getting a beat. But the reason why he was trying to actually find a beat is because they were worried about something called SVT. So he said that this could just be like PACs. So at first he was saying, okay, this could just be PACs, and what that is called, like I have this on my phone because it's so confusing. So PACs are premature atrial contractions. They're extra heartbeats that begin in one of your heart's two upper chambers, the atria. These extra beats disrupt your regular heart rhythm. They are a type of heart arrhythmia. So at first he's like, okay, so this is probably just PACs. But what could come of this is they don't want the baby's heart beating too fast because then it could turn into SVT, which I'm going to pull it up. Condition where your heart suddenly beats much faster than normal. It's not usually serious, but what his concern is, some people really need treatment, and what the problem could be is if the fetus's heart is already beating irregular and it goes to SVT where it beats at a higher rate, it could actually cause the fetus to be in distress. Like the heart could be in super distress mode, and he was really concerned about that. So all of this is going on. Here I am, like I have no clue about any of this stuff. Nobody in our family has ever had anything like this. None of our babies, they've never talked about any problems with the heart or anybody being irregular or all these big names he was saying. And so for me, it was super scary, and it was scary for Dave because we're like, what's going on? Like, and the doctor was concerned. I mean, he told us that he sees it a lot, but his, like I said, the concern of his is why is she just beating this way constant? Why isn't it not just here and there? So he set us up to go to Chicago to Lurie's Children's Hospital the very next day to see a fetal cardiologist, a specialist over there, to look further into her heart, making sure nothing else was going wrong with it as to why it was beating the way it was beating, like making sure there wasn't any abnormal developments with her heart, like it wasn't enlarged, there wasn't any fluid around her heart or anything like that. They wanted to just make sure everything else like was okay with her heart, and just kind of narrow it down to it just being a arrhythmia or irregular heartbeat. Okay, so we make it to Chicago, and here's some footage of us in Chicago, scared to death. We made it to Lurie's Children's Hospital, downtown Chicago. And here's baby girl's heart. They're really looking around, making sure everything is formed right and there's not any other issues going on. Her heart beats really strong and good, but you can tell as it's beating, it's got a pause, and it's very irregular. And they're calling it a irregular regular heartbeat. So if you have bigeminy, your heart doesn't beat in a normal pattern. After every routine beat, you have a beat that comes too early, or what's known as premature ventricle contraction, which is called PVC. As Dave and I are learning more about this, we found out that PVCs are actually common and not always harmful. If the baby's in good health, she may not even need treatment, but if she has a heart condition, she may need to take medicine to control her bigeminy. PVCs are electrical impulses, and they start in one of your heart's two lower chambers, and usually the doctor refers this to as ventricle. We also found out that many different things can bring on bigeminy, and this can be family history, an infection in the heart or somewhere else in the body, things that rev up your heart, caffeine, nicotine, drugs like cocaine and some over-the-counter herbal medicines, and too many or too few electrolytes, minerals like potassium and sodium in your blood, or thyroid disease. And they were telling me that there's nothing that I could have done to bring this on. And here is what her heart rhythm is sounding like. Dave and I at first were like, oh my goodness, because we are used to that galloping horse sound, beat after beat, and this sounds awful, but it sounded like a sputtering car to me. We're back in Chicago for our second visit at Lurie's Children's Hospital to check on baby girl. We're going in. Hopefully we can get some more answers and just peace of mind. that the specialist is keeping her in check and that everything is going to be okay with our baby girl. Louise is right behind me here. Kids are just playing on the playground for a second. Boo. And we are going to go into our appointment. There's a cute little playground right outside Lurie's hospital. I'm just so happy that we're keeping a close watch on this. This has been so nerve-wracking, but they're giving me hopes that they believe she's going to correct herself. This rhythm is going to correct itself. So come on, Miley. Thankfully, after them digging into her heart and looking deeper, they did not find any abnormalities. There was, her heart wasn't enlarged. Her heart was formed beautifully, working strong, had no problems whatsoever. They just narrowed it down to being an electrical issue, how it was electrically corresponding the valves to each other to be irregular. And I actually have little Luke in here. Luke, what you doing, buddy? Luke, are you ready for a nap? Oh, you're putting stickers on you. He has little stickers from Chick-fil-A. He's hanging out with me in here while I'm talking about his baby sister. And Miley's in a nap, isn't she? Is Miley in a nap? Yeah. She's in a nap. Everyone's going to get to meet her soon. An electrical problem, she said. And I had so many questions. I was like, is this something that I did? They were saying that having a lot of caffeine could worsen the issue, but it doesn't cause the issue. And I didn't drink a lot of caffeine. I had an occasional cherry Coke every once in a while and maybe a coffee like once a month, if that. So they even asked me, actually the first doctor that caught it asked me, do you use cocoa butter like cream? And I was like, actually, yeah, I did use that a lot, but they're saying just stop all that. Like, don't drink any caffeine, don't eat chocolate, don't put your cocoa butter cream on anymore because your body absorbs that and like it could get to the baby. And anything right now, just because everything was up in the air as to why her heart was beating that way, even though they said that's not what caused it, but it could worsen it now that she has it, me taking in a lot of caffeine. Mom, so of course, oh my goodness. So of course I did away with all of that. No caffeine, no chocolate, no nothing at all. And what became of that appointment is basically, since she literally, it was just really confusing because as scary as it was to us, they just kind of were like, we see this all the time. She actually said there's a 10% chance of it turning into SVT, but they had to take that into consideration that she could. But she gave me this high hope that like, I rarely see this go bad. These babies get these arrhythmias and can live with them. And most likely when she's born, her heart will turn around and just start beating on a regular beat. And so literally like every doctor, like even that we went back to our other doctor, like that found it, and he said the same thing, like, yeah, I rarely see this causing like harm to the baby, and the baby just tolerates it. But I was instructed by the Chicago doctor to be in a watch. I had to go in and get 2 times a week, get a biophysical ultrasound of the baby 2 times a week to make sure her heart isn't getting too fast. And they needed to check her breathing, her movements, and just of course like her heart in general, like how it's beating. And I had to do that 2 times a week. And they even gave us hope, like, you know what, you might go in and her heart might be beating just fine the next time. And this could just be a little fluke, a little blip in her life. And so we walked away from Chicago literally, okay, so we were really scared, and now you guys are just kind of like, oh yeah, babies have this all the time, and she's like, your baby's super healthy and she's tolerating her own little beat, her own regular beat that she has. And so we're like, okay, so I guess we can calm down just a bit. But we just had that concern of, how do I know though, like, so I went to bed like every night, or I was just always worried about her movements. Like if I didn't feel her move, like all the scares were on at this point. Like I worried about, oh no, like what if her heart like started beating too fast and now she's in distress or something, and all the things that mothers worry about, and it already, and now on top of it this, and just what we put ourselves through. Baby girl in there was so good about moving for me. She didn't have long things in between her movements, so that was really good, and that gave me peace of mind because I kept feeling her move so much. Kid, are you giving me a kiss? Show the camera what you have. He's giving me a kiss with a butterfly on his lips. Dave and I actually looked into it though, because we're like, there has to be something more to this. Like, and when we went away from the Chicago doctor too, one of our questions was, the biggest question we had is, what if her heart doesn't change? So you guys are worried about it beating so fast right now as she's a fetus. What if she comes out and her heart literally like is still beating the way it is, and she grows up to be 10 years old? Do we still have to worry about her getting her heart rate up fast? And oh, okay, calm down. And the biggest thing is, she didn't really want to answer that question. So she just basically told us, we will cross that bridge when it comes, when she's born, and you'll be signed on to then a pediatric cardiologist, and then we'll go from there. So that was like this only scary thing. Like she wasn't answering that question. Like, what do we do if the heart is still beating this way? She gave instructions that the baby will go to the NICU right after birth, and she's going to need an EKG, and then like a 24-hour watch with her heart, at least 24 hours. And a cardiologist would come and be assigned to her right away and take over from there. What was also in the plan was Dave and I would need to be taught how to check baby's heart when she's born, to still make sure her heart isn't like beating too fast. So that, with all of that, like, it's just scary, because it's like, hold on, wait a second, you're telling me all these doctors are saying, even her first week's checkup, we took her in right after, just with the pediatric. She hasn't seen, she is supposed to be going to the cardiologist in Chicago, a different one, a pediatric cardiologist. We got an appointment for her to go, but she had to go in for her weight check after. And even that, our pediatrician said like, oh, I see this, babies can tolerate this, and sometimes we don't even know that the kids have it. And so it's like, okay, I don't know, it's really confusing. It's scary, and if anybody else is going through something like this, come on our journey with us. This is what we know so far. Our baby is super healthy. I mean, she's feeding well. She's passed like all her tests and anything that they could have done to her already in the NICU. She's like just strong, healthy baby. She was 7 pounds, 9 ounces when she was born. Just strong. And she just has this like heartbeat that's weird and crazy. Her own little beat. So when you see our birth vlog and story in the next video, you can just continue on the journey with us and see how it all went. So this video is just kind of to start another little journey with our baby girl having her irregular heartbeat. We're not really knowing where this is all gonna go. I did have one doctor tell me that, like, oh, the worst case scenario is if she continues to have this as she gets older, she could struggle with heart palpitations and maybe have to get a pacemaker put in. And I'm like, wait, what? But most all doctors that we've talked to just say, like, listen, the heartbeat's fine. It's just a different way it beats. And she's tolerating it and she's doing great. And so far your baby just looks like she's gonna be okay with the way that it beats. And most likely, hopefully, it will just turn itself around as she grows. So that's where we're at right now. She's going to be having multiple appointments come up with pediatric cardiologist specialists in Chicago. So I will just continue to document this, all the stuff that's gone on, all the stuff that's going on, and where this is going to take us. And yeah, so if you've been told your baby has an irregular heartbeat, come on this journey with us. And we'll just hopefully like find out answers and figure this out, because it was super scary in the beginning. And yeah, we're just kind of like all scratching our heads. Watch the next video. It's our birth story, birth vlog. She's here, she's healthy, she's safe, but still has her regular heartbeat going on. And there's just still, Dave and I just still scratch our heads at it. Like, it has been a little scary. Like, it was scary enough to have her inside me and not know, but like, I don't know, every little thing, like if she's like starts breathing weird or heavy, like I'm like, oh no, like her heart. But she's just so healthy, and I need to stop worrying, and I trust the Lord, and we're gonna get her in to the cardiologist at the hospital, she passed her stuff there. She was able to actually come home with me when I was discharged, so thankful for that she didn't have to stay longer. But she is going to be signed on to a specialist now. Come along with us on the journey. We will end this video here. Thanks for watching. Catch